negotiation for the property, and there's, clearly I didn't put it in my proposal because I didn't even write it in there that we are going to be putting a finished water line back as a point. Now, in the end, if you decide not to increase our fees, that's fine, but I'm gonna come forward and say we've ran into different things here. And I think it's good as shown that the wetland is not where it was depicted. So we changed gears after we had invested time trying to get it to a point.
But actually the gears is similar. I mean, honestly, if you went straight across and down, or if you came over where you did, it might have cost just a hair more, but really the same amount of footage, right?
For the surveying wise?
Well, the surveying is different, but I'm talking about just the pipes itself. So it's the survey cost and then that extra water line that's really, that you're talking about, that's the extra cost.
Right. I mean,
because the pipe itself, if you measured this out, is pretty close, whether you went straight across and over, or if you came over where you did and then across. It's similar.
Right, but there's double work that happens because you started it down one road and you end up doing it again on the other side. Do you understand? I mean, if it's not a pipe cost that you're.
No, I get that.
On. It's almost double handling of things, not being able to do things in an efficient manner because you're running into stuff.
Go ahead, Pat.
I was just going to ask, the bid came in April, right?
We wrote our proposal in
April.
Right.
So at what point did you start discussing these increased costs with Bruce?
I
mean, to the point where you were telling him there's going to be another
I think late May or
$18,000.
early June when we were trying to get this thing to the DOT. We actually had another.
So at that point you informed him there would be another $17,000 or $18,000.
No. I said to him, I'm having a lot more costs because we're out back here surveying again. We're surveying the other side of the road. We didn't even anticipate doing this, surveying the other part of the side of the road. And if this is now a wetland, there's no way that you can put the pit over on that side like you're thinking and coming up that property line. We can't go and dig in that area. That's when I didn't know the handle on it. I was hoping we could continue to push through this and keep our costs down and get closer, but there's too much work coming back and doing it again and going around. So he hasn't seen these numbers till this September letter.
Okay.
And I waited to get all the way through to the end before I knew what our number was.
So at the point you were talking to him, you knew that it was wetland, but you didn't think the costs were going to be increased that much.
I wasn't sure what the costs were going to be increased. I would have more costs because I knew I had a survey and stuff, but I didn't have a number on it. No.
Back to Amy's point there. That's part of the bidding thing, is you never know exactly what your costs are going to be. That's why you sometimes have to eat it.
Oh, I understand that, and I have eaten many projects where we've erred on how we've gone about trying to design something.
But it sounds to me also like Bruce was a lot more clear in explaining about the line coming back to the house when he was talking to John about that. Then you were being clear as far as the increased costs were until we just got this month, well, last month maybe, but I don't know. I
wanted to get the job.
I'm having a real problem with it. I'm having a real issue here.
So the number, the full number that he's looking for is how much? The total.
17,152.
Okay.
What I'm looking for is actual fees.
Okay, 17,152. What was the original bid?
Well,
34,950.
How much?
Yeah.
was the not to exceed 34,950? So is the not to exceed now 52,102? Like, is it that?
If you go that far, yeah. I mean, if
That's a 50% increase.
I have additional time out there with this line is what I'm anticipating. What I've said in there, ours is a not to exceed cost based on actual hours. That's what we originally laid this out. And that was what, 34,000. So what I've got at this point is we billed the city probably $24,000, you probably have that number, Lacy. We billed
Oh,
you
I do in my
$24,000. But I can tell you, based on the budgets we've laid out, because of some of these things that have occurred, I'm 1,500 passed on the surveying, and I'm 6,000 passed on the design side of it. Now, if we can bring the construction in under, we could potentially be at that. But I don't want to come at the end of it, when it's all said and done, and say, hey, we had all these issues back here, and I didn't bring them forward. Kind of like you're saying, I think, a little bit about May. Well, didn't you bring these up to Bruce at that point, put dollar values to them so it could be in front of us? I didn't know what they were at that point, frankly. And I felt like it's important now to come forward and say, this is the situation that we encountered, and this is how we dealt with it. And would you consider meeting our overage costs on this stuff?
Can I ask a quick question? Is the different design element, Phil, why, you know, in the April letter it said we'd be ready for bid by June 1, and then we weren't ready until August?
It's part of it.
Is that, okay,
It's part of it.
okay. And I don't know a whole lot about these systems. The cased Highway 10 crossing, that's different than with a with finished main?
Right,
Is that, because that cost is over double.
right. So
Is that the difference?
the case is really the raw water supply from the well to the well house.
Okay.
So you have that segment, whether it goes across like we originally planned or it goes this way. And then we have the finished water line there as well. Your finished water line probably added $40,000. Did you run a number on it or not? I think it's about $40,000 to the project. The other costs associated with getting higher is the water. There's just a ton of water, and all the contractors, even the day we bid it, we say, wow, these bids are high, and they're like, yeah, there's a lot of water to deal with here. So they accounted for high water by throwing dollars at the project.
Just not enough,
What's that?
just not enough.
What do you mean?
You said they accounted for it by adding more dollars to bid. Are you talking this?
The contractor, constructor.
The engineer fees are not part of
We
these
are not a
bids.
contractor.
Oh, that's right,
Right.
I was getting the two mixed
Right.
up, yes.
So the contractors, they threw higher numbers because they knew it was a really wet area.
Because we showed them that as a result of our plans.
In August,
Right.
when they bid.
So let's be honest with us, what is our chances of the contract coming lower than what the bid was? 0, correct? I mean, they're not gonna come back and say, oops, it went a little smoother, we're gonna take 20,000 off the bid.
Well, the bid is based on a per foot basis, so everything's broken out on, they have so many feet of casing, that's a per foot and all that stuff.
Yeah, but they're not coming down on price, I mean, it's gonna be.
They're not gonna reduce their price, the way they get lower is if the quantity they put in the ground is less.
Which it won't be. so.
Or less man time.
Even if it's less man time, it won't matter, they're not
But
based on it.
it
It's-
saves them money.
They'll just make
It-
it higher.
Yeah.
Right, it doesn't matter.
They'll put it in the kitty.
Yeah, if it's 100 feet of casing and they bid it at, well, I think they bid it at $275 a foot. If they get it in quicker than they thought, we're paying them $275 a foot. So, anyway, I mean,
Well,
here's the other thing, I mean, if we have the not to exceed of, and what's the dollar value there?
34,950.
34,950.
I think a lot of this is, the overall project at this point is almost double what the estimate was.
Of the project, in terms of what, the fees?
The budgetary construction costs, the engineering fees,
Yeah.
instead of like 250, 270, now we're looking at almost $500,000.
Yeah. That's what the construction market tells you, what the
Does
cost
that-
of a project is.
Does that have anything to do with us not getting to bid until August?
For this. We can't get permits quicker than they can come. I mean, do I think the bidding climate was better? at that time. We bid a project in Wadena. We estimated it was a $75,000 project, and it came in at $55,000. I think this is a complex project. It's a casing across the highway, and it's a lot of water. It's a lot of directional boring. It's not what
Did the,
J&J out of Staples can do or anything, it's specialized work.
did we have to wait to put in those permits until the design, like after you guys designed? And I guess I don't.
We put the
know
permits in
whole-
June.
Okay. And they
Permits
couldn't have
went
been put
June
in
and they
like
didn't get
April?
approved until August, and that's only because we went back partway in and said, you've got to get us something, we've got to get this in the ground.
I saw emails in April saying that you guys would help us with the permits, so I was just trying to figure out what the delay was there, I guess.
Well,
And I'm not trying, I feel like we're like
No, and I'm trying to answer
bombarding
this,
you.
but that's kind of, I think, part and parcel is, this seemed like a straightforward project, but the conditions that were out there versus what's represented here are different. So much so that we just changed direction on this thing. And there's cost to change direction after if you've started down the road. I think that impacts your time frame to submit this. We can't submit something if we don't know where we're going with it. Because when we get the permit from the DOT, your pipe is gonna be in a certain location. We have to show them what the elements are so they approve it. What we face in the summertime is they're reviewing not just the city of Motley's permits, they're facing whoever else has submitted it as well. And then we try and get that moved forward. We actually got 2 permits from the DOT on this. We sent this off in June, and in July they still hadn't responded, and we went to the local DOT and said, you've got to try and get us this information, you got to try and get this permit, we have got to bid this project. They gave us a short form approval within about 5 days after we pressured them, saying, you know this has been in the hopper. We got that, and about 14 days later, we had the central office saying, hey, you want us to look at your permit? And I was like, we already have a permit, what do you mean? So I felt like we tried to push to accelerate that. Well, I mean,
So,
the purpose of this was to seek an amendment, and if,
well, you gotta understand, we're caught on the left side here. You know what I mean? We're not being hard-nosed or,
no, you're looking out for your constituents. and
we
I
are.
totally
The thing
get
is,
that.
they're the ones that put us here to run the business, and so we're not gonna be back if we keep being foolish about it. So we have to be smart, run the city smart, and wanna do what's best for everybody, and try to do a happy medium. Do I think you guys screwed up a little bit? I do. I agree with Amy and the rest of them. I think you guys, somebody should have physically went and looked at it. You could have said, seen it was wetland. Do I know as a contractor that once in a while things go up higher than, yes, I know that happens too. You know, I can tell you that me and my son ain't very happy because they have, you know, we haven't had nothing with this project, and all of a sudden we get a phone call and it's like, can we use this, or can we back in your property any longer? And next thing you know, there's dips, and they're driving on it, and they're over in his side, and they're over in my side, and they got and it's like, it's okay, but it's to the point where it's like, why didn't this get brought to us ahead of time? Where it said, hey, can we use your property to do some of this, to put the pipe?
That's the contractors doing that?
Yeah,
Okay.
and, you know, there's
So
gonna.
those are all agreements that are being made outside of the contract, the city.
I get that, but who's watching these contractors? That's who we hire you. We hire you to say, okay, you are the guy that's gonna be, we trust you to give us a contractor that's reputable and that does a good job for the city.
Right.
You
No,
know.
and I get that, but at the same token, if they make arrangements with property owners, and we said that at this table when we had the pre-con meeting with the contractors, if you're making deals with private property owners, you need to, you know, that's your deal. Our project is within what this project is, and within the right-of-ways and the easements that the city's acquired. So, I mean, if they're not living up to their end of the bargain, then you need to tell them that, and you need to make the city
Well, it's one of them
aware
things that my
that.
son's 26 years old, he's a hard worker, he's gone with the railroad, and he gets a phone call middle of the day. You know, he doesn't have time to think or call me or say, hey, you know, Dad, what should I do? He's just like, you know, at an evening then because he can't be on his phone, he works for the railroad, but he's like, they wanna go back further on my property because they need the angle more, whatever it may be, and he's not, he's not unreasonable.
Mhm.
But I'm hoping that at the end, that all his lawn and our stuff that they have damaged is gonna be taken care of.
Right.
You know, because that's gonna be a real big issue with us, and it doesn't set well with me that they didn't ask before the project even started. That they waited until they were middle of the project, and then it's like, we need to do this, can we do it? You know,
Didn't we walk that right with the contractor and he just said they were gonna snake it through the woods? And we told them to talk with you, if
Yeah.
you're gonna do anything, or not you,
my son.
the son, if you're gonna do anything on that property, you need to get approval or permission ahead of time.
And he did.
Because in our view, where the trench was and everything, they have ample room to bring the pipe in and do that, so.
Well, I'm just saying that there's been some difference, I've had to call them and have them move the pipe over so the Rudy there that rents the land, he could chop his corn, and, I mean, we've had to do some finagling, which is not a big deal. But
Right.
then I get this, and then, yeah, I'm maybe a little frustrated.
No, and I get that, but I don't claim to know every private property arrangement that's been made.
Right.
I would like to get the ball rolling and make a motion. We've all discussed a lot of things and we can change the motion, but I would like to make a motion where the city pays no more than 10% of the increase. And both an amendment with the mistake made. The rest is on you.
You know, I don't even want to take, I'm gonna withdraw this. I thought it was a clear case of we have changed project scope. And it's clearly that that's not how you see it, and that's fine. We'll accept, that's fine. That we'll just operate under the contract as it is, but it's,
10% better than nothing.
I know, but
He's got a motion, so.
It's, the whole point is to have a relationship over a long time where we can have these difficult discussions.
And I get that. I actually thought about maybe
Well,
even
one of-
splitting the cost, and you eating half of it and we eating half of it, but,
Yeah.
I'm just saying, getting the ball
Yeah.
rolling,
Well-
we've discussed a lot, so.
One of the things I was gonna, and the reason why I'm caring less about the dollars, and maybe I've done a good job of educating it. We provide professional services and we try and do it to the best of our ability. But we're not, I know you hire us for consulting, but we're not a contractor, so to speak. Like, we'll give you a driveway that's this wide. Because that in professional services, many times you can't quantify the time you spend with agencies getting approvals or taking care of things that at that table you might be like, well, we'll just put that water line there. There's more steps to it.
right, I get that.
So I take full responsibility for the overage, but I'm just gonna tell you, whether it's myself or other professional engineers, I get sensitive to the contractor mentality, because it's almost like you're an insurance guy too. Every insurance guy operates the same way, and it's not. It's the level of care and quality that you try and provide to see things through to the end. So I'm fine with this. I thought this was an opportunity to just try and explain what some of these things were. So
No, and
we're happy to, we'll just
you
let
wanna,
it go.
are you sure?
Yeah,
Okay,
I
all right.
didn't mean to cause angst here, but
No, but it's money, we're struggling with this.
yeah.
I mean, I get it.
Well, and I just wanted to add that, I mean, I really do appreciate what you're doing, and, you know, for me personally, if we are representing the citizens, we have a very small town, I mean, they feel every little aspect of what we do in our budgeting. You know, and I know I will get a lot of gripe if we were to do this, because, you know, they don't see it the same way as we do, and, you know, even though in the scope of this project it's a small amount, you know, it's something that is noticed by our residents, and they trust us to do this on their behalf, and, you know, we've always had great luck with you guys in the
Yeah.
past from the experience that I've had,
Well, and we wanna keep doing that, that's why I think it's, when you think about this one in the future, whether we're involved, there's some other engineers, and you start to see the amount of dollars you're spending for the fee as a part of the project, I would like you to compare those compared to what we provide, because I felt like on this project, we did everything we could to try and even ratchet down. And you can see by the magnitude of these projects, they're pretty big now. So, anyway, sorry to waste your time.
Well, you didn't,
Anyway, I
you
appreciate
didn't waste
the
our
conversation.
time.
Not at all, Phil.
Well, you had a longer meeting and the Vikings are playing the Bears. It's been in the back of my mind, so.
well, thank you.
Yeah.
Alright. So, we're gonna move on here.
I will withdraw the motion.
Motion, okay.
Leave it, I guess.
Yeah, that is legal. Public forum. Any members of the public wishing to be heard should sign in before public forum begins, providing their name, contact information, and for any follow-up. Anybody from the public that wants to make comments, have 3 minutes. Anybody from the public? All right, so we'll move forward. Nothing new in the committees, I don't think. Is there anything else? Anybody have anything new in the committees that we need to discuss? All right, we'll go to the fire department.
You guys got the fire report in front of you. Ran 7 medicals, 1 structure fire, 1 fuel spill for 9 total calls for that month. Then we're looking for approval to hire a new firefighter, pending his successful medical and background checks.
I will make that motion. I met the man. He seems like a good fit for our fire department. I'll make that motion to hire him.
Okay, motion made by Johnson, looking for a second.
I would second that.
Second by Hutchison. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
We have 1 resignation, just the council acceptance.
Okay. Who do we have resigning?
Alright. Sarah Swecker.
Okay. Was she
some
gonna
stuff
give us a
going
letter or just?
on. She has a letter.
Oh,
I have the letter on file. It's,
Okay.
part of our file, it's protected by the Data Practice Act. So I would just, the fire department and me as the personnel officer would
Yep.
recommend accepting her resignation.
okay. I'm looking for a motion.
I would make that motion.
Motion made by Hutchison, looking for a second.
I will second that.
Second by Johnson. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Any comments for the fire department? There's a few, I think there might have 1 or 2 calls I had, I think 1 for sure, that he had some extra expenses show up. The medical, or the first responder rig had some issues and was kinda need to get in the shop fast, so it was a couple $1,000, I think.
It was 22, almost
Anyways,
2,300 bucks.
Yeah, so he called his liaison and me, and we said, well, we gotta get it done, so we approved it on the basis of that of emergency, so just so the council knows. Anybody else have anything? All right, police department.
Okay, we had 175 calls for the month of December. For the end of September, we're at 1,591 calls for the year. 70,000 miles on the squad. It was called up and 3 times, responded to 1 of those calls. The only agenda item I have is permission to send Officer Borash to the TZD conference, October 26th and 27th at St. Paul. It says all costs will be covered by Minnesota TZD, and Lacey corrected me on that. It's we pay mileage, meal reimbursement, hotel costs will be reimbursed, as well as parking charges by TZD.
So this is free training, right?
Yes.
And are his hours at the training covered by TZD or no?
No.
No.
Or is that the city? Okay. I just want to make that clear, so I wasn't sure.
Honestly, I know you guys probably disagree with me, but he's been gone a lot, doing a lot of training, and I just hate to see him. Every time we send somebody to training, I mean, you can train, it doesn't do that's not your police work. I don't mind training, but I think there's gotta be a line, and this is a conference, it's really just, I've been to these before. It's not like I don't think he's gonna get reimbursed for any of his post credits or nothing. Maybe there's a few, maybe there's 4.
You get post credits for it, but
Yeah.
yeah,
Why aren't you going to this?
I didn't want to go.
Yeah.
What does the TZD stand for?
TZD is towards zero deaths.
Oh.
It's all the traffic campaigns, that go
Just
seatbelts,
traffic.
distracted driving, DWI enforcement, speed enforcement. So I've been very involved with it. I've been to several conferences in the past. They are good conferences. They offer a lot of good training. You get post credits for it. This one's down in the metro. I try to avoid the metro if I can, so I didn't want to go this year.
He just left tonight, I think, for
Yeah,
training.
he's going to be gone the rest of this week.
Yeah.
And then I will be gone actually the week of the 16th through the 20th for the Clio Academy.
So he's off on training right now for the rest of this week?
Yes, he'll be back Friday actually. He'll be gone tomorrow, Wednesday, and Thursday. He'll be back Friday.
How many post credits do you guys need? If these are offered in free post credits, or I don't know how that
No,
works
he
exactly.
doesn't need them. I mean, if he keeps up with the county training.
With the training he's getting, where you get.
I thought maybe it was a good way to get free post credits if you needed some. I don't know.
Well, it is, but the city's still paying for it, and it's,
Oh, no,
and we have a less officer. That's my thing. My thing is, he's been to, he wasn't this whole. How many times to training did you go this last month? Quite often.
This last month?
Yeah. Well, he's going to the alcohol one,
He's going to that one this week.
right? And then he had the drug one. He just got done with.
Okay, yeah, 2 days with the drug.
And then there was one other one before that, I think, wasn't it?
That was several months ago when he went to the advanced field sobriety one.
Yeah. I mean, whatever. I'm gonna let the other guys talk and figure out what they want to do. Well, typically I like somebody else to make the motion.
You
I
know
just
way more
run
about
it.
that than we
Well, I
do.
just know that this is a good conference, but is it something that I'm willing to give up an officer for who's been going to a lot of training already? I think we're jamming a lot of training in this month, or even this month he's gone a lot. And I think, I hear comments from people saying, hey, your officers are always gone. Well, they are, and there are a lot of training. I don't mind training, but I think we have to do a happy medium.
Is this training available on a regular basis, like every year or so?
Yes,
once a
the
year,
conference
yeah.
is every year.
So would it hurt anything if we looked at him going next year instead of this year?
It's fine by me.
Good.
Just because I feel somewhat responsible for this. I had been told that it was already approved by the police chief, and I told him I told Jason it had to be on the agenda in order to pay the mileage and the meal reimbursements and stuff. So I just wanted to be clear that he is anticipating going to this already. Whether that makes you guys change your mind or not, I just want you to know the facts. So.
Well, typically, I mean, honestly, I would rather let the chief make those decisions, but I just think that I've been 2 of these already, and I don't know, maybe I'm being, because I'm a citizen, maybe a little more selfish, but it just seems like he's been doing to a lot of training. We keep giving training, but we need somebody to work here. And it seems that when Ron takes off, he bumps right up days, and then we don't have coverage at night. We need coverage at night, that's my opinion. It's like, I was hoping that as a chief, you would kind of manage that more better and say, no, you can't go, or no, we need somebody here, or whatever, you know. Nothing against Jason, it's not, I don't care who would be in that position, I'd feel the same.
What days are these? I don't have my calendar.
Thursday and Friday.
Is it
Thursday, Friday.
Thursday and Friday.
Is there any other training on the horizon that we see coming up, like in November, December, January?
I know he wants to do search warrant training, and which
Well,
probably
yeah.
needed.
Yeah, we're gonna need to do some search warrant training, but I'm gonna search for a training on
Right.
search warrants.
And then they have, we have 2 trainings from the county this month. We have the, this,
That's this month, and then there's early next month.
early, yeah, you're right, 2, so it's, yeah. So. Who's his liaison? I'm trying to think who's Pat.
Yeah.
How do you feel about it?
I like the idea that I'm getting all the training we get. It's free training, but then again, it's not totally free because we've got the officer gone for 2 days. But then you make the point of he's been going to a lot of training recently. And then you have more training coming up with the county. How important is this training right now in relation to having him on duty here?
I think this is maybe MEA weekend too, isn't it? No. No?
It's next weekend.
So I don't know, I mean, I'm torn on this one. I would like to see our officers get all the training we can get them so they're up to speed on, you know, everything they can be, but
There has to be a
Yeah,
limit,
you
there has
say,
to be a limit, because we can't
yeah,
continue
they're
to
gone
send.
all the time in training,
Yeah.
who's here patrolling.
If we had 3 officers or somebody who could cover that, maybe I would say, yeah, but I don't know. What kind of grief is he gonna give you if the council says no to this training?
I'm not sure, but
Can,
my skin's getting pretty thick, I can handle that, so.
That doesn't sound to me like it's something he has to have right now. I mean, if it was, I mean, I know from your position, you would have a better idea of that than I have. But
well, basically what it is, it's a conference. You have these little booths or little rooms with different training, and some of it doesn't even apply to law enforcement. It might be, some of it's car seats, and I was the car seat instructor for the county. I did car seats, and some of it is about the design of the road and how whoever designs the road is doing a better job, and so you hear, there's a few.
It's a conference set up for not only law enforcement, but
Correct.
firefighters, first responders, ambulance personnel, traffic
Architects.
engineers, DOT.
Yeah.
It's got a little bit of everything.
Yeah.
It has some very good breakout sessions that are law enforcement specific. Some of those can be very good. It's also a great networking tool for networking with people from surrounding agencies. When I've gone to it, I've benefited from it. It's been good. Like I said,